Hi there. I just had to get on here and say something really quick. It's been an interesting 24 hours, hasn't it, with Charlie Kirk getting shot and killed on the old campus that I used to go to. I used to go to UVSC, Utah Valley State College, back in the day, back in 2003 to 2005. So it's hitting close to home as in location, but also I had to get on here and say something because this has shook me to my core. We all went through COVID in 2020. The COVID, the quarantine, the debate of the mask, whether no mask or masking, the debate of getting the shot or not getting the shot. They closed our temples and we couldn't go to our temples or our churches. They did all kinds of things, and that stuff was pretty crazy. But in comparison, this has been my moment of, all right, that's it. What am I going to do? So I wanted to just get on here and explain what happened to me this morning. So I got up. I already heard about it yesterday. Yesterday was the shock day of like, what? They shot him? They shot this guy that's just debating people? He's just debating people. He's speaking logic. And whether you agree with him or not, you want to shoot a guy over your beliefs? Anyway, so it really upset me. I was very traumatized by this in the sense that this is where we're at. We're at this situation. And my first reaction this morning was I cried. I cried for Charlie Kirk. I cried for his wife and his two sweet little children and his whole organization. Everything he stood for was a beautiful, powerful situation, and I appreciated it. I didn't watch him religiously, but I watched him often, and I do agree with his opinion, but that doesn't matter. Even if you don't agree with his opinion, if this was somebody else that has a completely different opinion than me, I respect your opinion and what you think. I don't believe I should kill you over it, right? So I was really upset this morning, and this made me cry, and I'm devastated because I'm 40 years old. This man was 31. He had a beautiful little family. And along with everything else that's happened, you've got France, stuff going on in France with having, 5 prime ministers in the last 2 years. They just keep overturning their own prime ministers. You've got Nepal just had... they just overturned their government officials. They just shot and killed a bunch of theirs. Like, it's crazy right now. You've got our own president that was running for president, was shot at twice. You've got all these things that are building. You've got the shooting that happened in Colorado practically at the same time as this thing with Charlie Kirk. I could go on and on. I don't have enough time to explain all the other things that have happened over the last few years. It's insane right now. So after I cried this morning, I got into that moment where I was like, well, what can I do? And my first thought was, well, back when I was in college and in high school, I really wanted to go be in the military. So I'm like, I'm going to see how old you have to be, and the cutoff is for being in the military. It's 41. I've already looked. And I started to get on there. I literally was Googling, how old do you have to be, how old is the oldest you can be to join the military? It's 41. And I got thinking, what are you doing, Kat? You can't join the military. You got 5 kids at home, you're a mom. Even so, what are you thinking? You're just going to go work for the military who works for corrupt politicians? Because in my opinion, all the corrupt politicians are corrupt. A little backstory here. When I was growing up in Naples, Florida, so my mom had remarried a gentleman, and they actually funded and paid for Jeb Bush's campaign. They put money towards it. So as part of that, we were able to go to the governor's mansion there in Florida. We had dinner. I had dinner with his son and Jeb Bush and his wife. At the time, this is way back in the 2000s. This is not after I was an adult. This is as a teenager. My parents, we had Senator John McCain, I want to say. I can't remember. Sorry, I should have known this name. It's been a long time. We had a senator come into our home and speak to the Gray Oaks community. Gray Oaks community was a gated community of the wealthy. These people, like, we had, I think, one of the smaller mansions, and it was worth $3 million at the time. Like, we had one of the smaller mansions, if that makes sense to you. Oh, I have a bug friend here. Anyway, I had them come into our home and speak to all of the wealthy people. And I heard what they had to say. Then I watched them, because I was going to get into politics. Then I watched them go into the community and say completely different things to people, depending on the audience they had, right? You're going to say things to the people that gave you money differently than you're going to say to the general public to get their votes, right? So in my opinion, I had a bad taste in my mouth about politics back then. I actually had it set up. I was supposed to go and intern with Senator Hatch in 2003. I ended up not doing that. I'll leave those reasons out. But at that point, my direction in my life with my family and my belief system with politics, I got such a bad taste in my mouth. It was the last thing I wanted to do. I didn't end up going into politics like I wanted to. And so I'm just prefacing with that. And I have paid attention to politics over the years. I still do not want to get into politics. I still do not want to waste my time with those things. Everything is corrupt. Everything has an agenda. I still have that belief system in my heart. But I got thinking this morning about what can I do. There's a couple things that I did come to a conclusion on, and that's what this video is for. I'm getting my opinion out there on this matter. Number one, I'm going to bring it back to religion for a minute. I have been asked to testify of Christ, and that is what I will continue to do on this channel. That is what this is for. I will testify of Christ. I will bear my testimony of him, and I will share the gospel. That is the one thing I can do that is not harming others, that is getting my belief system out there, and it is helping others that need to hear that message, that we need to be strengthened in Christ. Okay, that's number one. So that is I'm going to re-rein it back in. I'm going to stop putting off videos that I felt prompted to share, and those videos will follow this video, because I have actually made a few videos in the last few months and I have not posted them for multiple reasons. One, I'm a perfectionist. I didn't like how the video was made. Number two, one of them is very vulnerable and very letting you into my inner struggles. I didn't want to put that out there. And it's just that, protecting myself, even though I felt very strongly prompted to share it. So I'm going to right my wrongs. I'm going to recommit to listening to the Holy Ghost, and when I get those promptings, to share things. Okay? Number two, or whatever number this is. This is totally off the cuff. I did not plan this. But now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to implement myself into my local politics. I'm going to learn. I'm going to educate myself. I am going to be a part of this community, and I'm going to commit myself with a few of my friends and whoever else joins me. I will put in the link below, because again, I don't remember the name of it, but I'm going to do this. I'm going to follow and learn about this self-governing, in the sense that we learn the local politics and we implement the local politics, and we fight for those bills that we believe in, etc., etc. And we get an understanding of this. Some of you may remember Lavoy Finicum. He was in the whole Bundy shoot off with the government over there in, it was in Utah, but it was also, I believe, I want to say Washington or Oregon. It's been a few years, and again, I don't, but that was a very big deal, and Lavoy Finicum was murdered by the government, and by the way, his attorneys won the case against the government in a very liberal-minded judicial system, and won against the government and the local I think it was a very big deal. If you don't know about it, go and look it up. It is amazing. There's a guy named Morgan Philpott who helped represent them, and I have followed and watched him for years, and he's amazing. Again, a lot of the political terminology goes over my head. I don't have that excuse anymore. It is time for me to learn and grow. And as I homeschool my children, by the way, fight for that right to be able to continue to homeschool my children and educate them the way I want to, I'm going to now fight and do my own homeschooling of myself, and I'm going to educate myself. So follow the link below if you feel impressed to do this. I'm also going to share a link to my friend Charity White, who is also heavily into politics and has learned all of this, and she's my friend that I look up to and admire and want to be more like in this area, and I've kind of been pulled other directions. But this is a time for me. This has been my Martin Luther King Jr. moment. I look at this man as a Martin Luther King Jr. He is literally a martyr for what he believed in, and I think he went about it the most beautiful way. He did not go about it. There's people trying to fight him. Like, really? There's people laughing and making jokes about him dying. He has a wife and children. I don't care who you are. Where is your common sense and your dignity and your respect? I don't know what is going on, but there is in no way that I would celebrate and dance on someone's grave. And that to me speaks volumes of what kind of a person you are and where you're at. And I don't believe in dividing more. I don't believe in that. But it breaks my heart that you have become a shell of a person and that you don't even have common decency anymore. And that is a sign of the times. That is a sign of our day. And I do not speak loudly politically. I don't speak. The only thing I speak loudly on is my belief in Jesus Christ and the gospel and the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and my belief in the Book of Mormon and the Bible and everything that I stand for, and that I believe is going to bring us closer together and unite us. Let's find the things that unite us. Otherwise, what's going to happen? The last time something happened like this, a civil war happened over fighting over the blacks and the whites. And by the way, I don't have any ancestors that fought for blacks. My ancestors were all up north, or they weren't here yet in America, and they would fight side by side with anybody to this day for our beliefs and our right to our belief systems. as long as they don't harm others, of course. So that's where I'm at. I feel like this was a bit of a wake-up call, and it shook me to my core. And I am usually someone that, like I said, when COVID hit, when anything else has happened, anything politically, even whoever you voted for in the past for president, I keep my mouth shut. I just do what I do. I have my opinions, and I go with those opinions. And you will not see me voice political things more, but you will see me stand up for things that I do believe in, because I do believe in those rights. And I do believe in I do believe for what he stood for. Charlie Kirk was an amazing man, and he stood for, let's talk about things, let's hash things out. And, you know, I've watched a few of his videos. Some of them I don't necessarily, I would say, agree about maybe his approach, but you have to meet people where they are in some ways. And I respected and honored, but a lot of his belief system, I 100% believe in. So you can take that. I do side with a lot of the ways. I am against abortion unless someone's life is at stake. I am for free speech. I am for debate, and in a respectful atmosphere. I do not believe in threats and threatening someone's life and threatening to harm them. That is not where this should be. This is not the way. Our society is falling apart. We have become just awful to each other. And you look at us post-COVID. You look at whatever your beliefs were on that situation, it changed us, and not for the better. We all became more cynical. We all became more angry and bitter and mean. And we need less of that. We need more uniting. We need to unite in find the things. Remember September 11th? Some of us were there. I was there. I was in school that day that September 11th happened. And we united. And I'm not saying we unite in a prideful way, in the proud to be American. No, I say we unite, that we are all God-fearing people, that we love and respect one another, and we are not going to stand for violence and hate. And we are not going to, in the form of violence and hurting. You know, I live here in Kansas City metropolitan area. And I have seen the riots. I have seen the crime in the unfortunate areas of this city. I don't want to be near it. I don't want to be around it. There's shootings all the time here. There's all kinds of crime here. There's so much going on here that is appalling. But what I can do is I can fight for things that affect me. So, like, for instance, I homeschool. Well, you're going to see me being a lot more actively pursuing whenever there's these bills that keep getting passed where they're trying to debilitate our ability to homeschool our children. They'd rather our kids go to school. Oh, and learn an education. Oh, wait, the education is now producing children that can't even read in high school and do their schoolwork. So you tell me, is that process working for you? Oh yeah, these are people with master's degrees and schooling up the wazoo. They're the experts, and they're teaching our children, and our children can't even read and write and have common sense to think for themselves. But they do understand our gender differences, right? That's really important to life skills in life, right? You know, where is all that? I'm sorry. This is turning into a joke. Meanwhile, my children are doing 9th grade math last year in 7th grade. Oh, and doing it with flying colors and getting all the answers done right. Oh, and doing the language arts. And not only are they doing the assignment, but they're going above and beyond. And they're literally getting, and my children that couldn't read in school are now reading because I took the time to homeschool them and to read to them. So just that little area, that little tiny spot in the grand spectrum of things where I have felt prompted to homeschool my children, I see the last 2 years. I'm going on year 3 of just homeschooling my children. I see the difference it has in my children's life. I see the difference in strengthening them. No one was meant to be thrown in a room full of their peers where they could be picked apart and thrown into the wolves. We were not designed. We were designed to have leaders and authoritative figures in our life like adults to lead and exemplify us. Good leaders, not sit in a room full of burnout teachers that can you imagine if you and I had to teach 30 people? We wouldn't be able to. Why do we expect our teachers to do that? I could go on and on. My point is, I'm going to start standing for what I believe in, and in a respectful, loving way, and I'm going to find ways that what I can do more. Because you won't see me as a politician. You won't see me go into those kind of fields. I will not. I don't stand for it. I believe that if you become a politician, you start to believe your own lies eventually. And if you get into the real politics, you do realize that there is a system, and you have to follow by those correct rules. Otherwise, no one sponsors you. Nobody pays for you. I've seen the other side of that, and it's disgusting and corrupt. And I don't agree with it. So that's all I have to say right now. I just wanted to get out here. This has shaken me to my core, and I am going to learn and educate myself, and I'm going to continue to fight for and stand up for things that I believe are right, and do it in a loving, Christ-like way. So I hope that you all are taking an internal view, and I would love to hear on here if anybody else has any opinions on what this has done to move you. Again, my first jump to was like, I want to go fight and stand for what I believe in. Let's go stand in and be in the military. It's not the same as it was 20 years ago when I was a young adult. It's not the same. I was raised as a true patriot. I have a family of Marines and Navy that loved and died for this country and suffered for this country, and were never the same when they got back from the war, right? I have those examples. I was raised to love this country, and to me, it's hanging on by a thread. It's barely there. It's falling apart. I just want to be able to do what I can do, if that makes sense. And to me, I can make more of an impact if I educate myself, educate my children, and then implement those things on a local level, and again, to continue to vote. So in that aspect, I just wanted to say a few things on that. I hope you all have a great day. I would love to hear what you all are thinking of, even if this just impacts me more, to share the gospel more and to educate myself more on political matters that affect me. Because I don't want to turn around one of these years, and because I just didn't want to put the time into something like homeschooling bills, and then I have to suffer because somebody voted more against me than for me. Where are the people that I need to be voting for myself and what I believe in? So thanks for your time. I hope you all have a great time. I'd love to hear your comments. Take care. Bye.